Picture this for a second, okay? You're standing outside, and it's a completely clear night.
Oh, I love a clear night sky.
Right. Just no clouds, no light pollution anywhere.
Huh?
You're looking up, and the stars are scattered out like shattered glass across the dark.
Yeah.
But then you realize there's something else up there, like a shadow.
A shadow among the stars.
Exactly, this massive, looming, just undeniable object hurtling through the vacuum of space right toward Earth.
And that's usually where the panic sets in.
Oh, absolutely, because it's an asteroid. But, and here is the catch for today's deep dive, this is where everything you think you know about this kind of scenario just gets flipped entirely on its head.
Completely inverted.
Because this asteroid isn't a weapon. It's not the apocalypse.
Right.
It's not some, mindless chunk of rock set on a collision course to wipe out the dinosaurs all over again.
Thankfully.
Yeah, thankfully. Instead, it is incredibly a message, like a deliberate, carefully aimed message that was sent with an entirely different purpose.
Which is such a wild concept to wrap your head around.
It really is. So today, we are looking at a text that basically takes our entire understanding of doomsday and just completely rewrites it.
It is a profound paradigm shift. I mean, truly.
Yeah.
What we are diving into today is a translated excerpt from this deeply symbolic, and I'll say somewhat mysterious text. It's titled, The Prophecy of Destruction of the Prophet Nathan Orr.
Which, okay, I have to say, that title, it sounds terrifying.
Oh, totally. I know right away hearing that the title sounds like the absolute opposite of what you just described.
Yeah.
Prophecy of Destruction just sounds like fire, brimstone, the end of all things.
It sounds like an action movie where a guy in a suit has 15 minutes to save the world.
Right, exactly. But the actual text we're looking at is this brilliant, incredibly layered psychological roadmap.
Yeah.
And it's not a roadmap toward destruction, but rather it's a blueprint for how humanity can actively avoid it.
And it does that by basically forcing us to look at the difference between the threats we see outside of us, right? Like the stuff in the sky, versus the ones that are just kind of brewing inside of us.
That's the core of it, yeah.
So we've got this document, and it's built around these incredibly tight, poetic metaphors. Our mission today is to really do an extreme close reading of this text.
Which is going to be so much fun.
Oh, it's going to be great. We're going to examine this concept of the, quote, stone in the sky and contrast that with the heart of stone.
Right.
But we aren't just going to read it as ancient poetry, We need to dissect what this actually implies for human consciousness.
And the staggering power of human choice.
Yes, exactly.
Because while it reads like an ancient scroll, the implications are just hyper-relevant to how we live today.
Oh, 100%.
It's about how we process fear and, honestly, how we fail to connect with each other right now.
Yeah.
The metaphors are ancient, sure, but the psychology is remarkably modern.
Okay, let's unpack this. Let's jump right into the deep end with the first part of this text, which it calls the sign in the sky.
Let's do it.
So the text states clearly that a universal sign is placed in the heavens. Let me actually quote the translation here.
Go for it.
It says, "I have given a sign in the sky to the eyes of every human, and a great stone moves from afar. Not to destroy did I send it, but to awaken a sleeping heart."
Wow. Just wow. The immediate redefining of a cosmic threat there is what grounds this entire philosophy.
Right. It's so abrupt.
It really is. Because typically in literally any narrative, whether it's Hollywood science fiction, ancient mythology, or even just our modern astronomical anxiety.
Yeah, our fear of space.
Exactly. An incoming asteroid is the ultimate doomsday scenario. It is the definitive end of the story.
Right. The screen goes to black.
Exactly. But Nathan Orr's text here immediately strips the asteroid of its violence, like right out of the gate.
Yeah, not to destroy did I send it.
It is explicitly repurposed. The intent is stated outright. It transforms a physical, world-ending threat into a purely psychological tool.
Almost like an alarm.
Yes, a divine universal alarm clock.
I really love that framing.
Yeah.
It's exactly like when your smoke detector goes off at like 3 in the morning.
Oh, the worst feeling.
It is the absolute worst. If you've ever had that happen, you know the physiological reaction is instant and it is absolute.
Your heart just drops.
Right. The noise is terrifying. It jolts you out of a deep, comfortable sleep. Your heart is pounding out of your chest. Your adrenaline just spikes instantly.
You're practically in fight or flight mode before your eyes are even open.
Exactly. Your brain is instantly flooded with panic. But, and this is the key thing, the alarm itself isn't the fire.
Right.
The alarm is the thing trying to save you from the fire.
That is such a perfect analogy for this.
It's loud and obnoxious by design,
Yeah.
because it has to break through your unconscious state.
It has to jolt you.
Right. But if we follow that logic, why does it take something as massive as a literal rock in the sky to wake humanity up?
That's the question, isn't it?
Yeah, like what does this say about the depth of our collective sleep?
Mm.
If a gentle nudge isn't enough, and we need a planetary threat.
That is the pivotal question of the entire text, honestly. It refers to humanity having a sleeping heart.
A sleeping heart.
Yeah. And if we think about what it means for the heart, which in this context is the seat of emotion, of empathy, and moral consciousness.
Right.
If we think about what it means for that to be asleep, we are talking about profound systemic complacency.
Like being totally numb.
Exactly. We're talking about a state of moral and spiritual anesthesia.
Oh, anesthesia. That's a great word for it.
A sleeping heart is one that has grown completely numb to the suffering of others. It's numb to systemic injustice, numb to the beauty of the world, and even numb to its own potential.
Wow.
And to your point about the smoke detector, if the sleep is that deep, if it's essentially a moral coma,
Right, a coma.
a gentle tap on the shoulder simply won't work. A
Oh.
quiet whisper of conscience is far too easily ignored.
That makes so much sense. Think about your own life for a second. And I'm talking to you, listening right now.
Yeah, think about your daily routine.
When was the last time you saw a tragic news story or a horrifying image of conflict or suffering on your phone and you just scrolled right past it?
We all do.
We do. You didn't scroll past because you're a monster. You scrolled past because you were just too exhausted to care.
Compassion fatigue is real.
It really is. You just didn't have the emotional bandwidth that day. That's what we are talking about here, right? That's your heart hitting the snooze button to protect itself from the overwhelming pain of the world.
Exactly. That is the sleeping heart in practice. It is psychological numbing.
Right.
We are bombarded by so much information, so much crisis every single day.
The news cycle is just relentless.
It is. So our natural defense mechanism is to shut down our empathy centers just to function, just to get through the day.
Otherwise, you'd just be crying in the grocery store all the time.
Exactly. But the text argues that when an entire species does this simultaneously, it becomes an existential threat.
When everyone hits snooze at the same time.
Yes. So it requires a disruption of massive, undeniable scale to shatter that level of collective apathy.
And the scale here is so universally visible. The text specifically notes that this sign is given to the eyes of every human.
Every single human.
Yeah, there's no exclusivity here. It's not a vision granted to a single prophet on a mountain who then has to scramble down and try to convince everyone else.
Right. Well, everyone demands proof and calls them crazy.
Exactly. It is a shared, undeniable reality. And I think about our current world, humanity is so intensely fractured.
Oh, more than ever.
We are divided by borders, by languages, by deeply entrenched political ideologies.
By the algorithms on our screens, honestly.
Yes, the algorithms. We can't even agree on basic observable facts anymore, but this text envisions an event that completely bypasses all of those divisions.
It forces a unifying focal point. Right. A massive stone moving from afar is something that no one on Earth can ignore. You can't debate it. You can't spin it with a clever narrative on social media.
You literally just look up.
You just look up. It forces an immediate, visceral shift in perspective.
I imagine it just silences everything.
It really does. Suddenly, the petty terrestrial conflicts that consume our daily lives, they are dwarfed by the sheer, unimaginable scale of the cosmos.
And our shared vulnerability.
Yes, exactly. It reminds humanity that beneath all the arbitrary lines we draw in the sand, we are all just fragile inhabitants of the same small rock.
Looking up at a much bigger rock.
Looking up at a much bigger rock.
But wait, if the asteroid is just the alarm clock, just a mechanism to get us to look up and realize we are asleep, what is the actual fire?
That's the million-dollar question.
Because a smoke detector doesn't go off for no reason. If the skyrock isn't the thing that's going to destroy us, what is burning in the background?
And the text answers that with a sharp, unsparing twist. It introduces the concept of the heart of stone.
The heart of stone, okay.
The prophecy states, and I quote, "And man looked to the sky and did not understand, for the danger is not the stone from above, but the stone in the heart. For a hard heart will destroy more than an asteroid."
Oh, wow. That is such a haunting line.
isn't it?
A hard heart will destroy more than an asteroid. It perfectly diagnoses human nature.
It really cuts to the core of it.
It does, because it is so deeply ingrained in us to fear the tangible, visible threats.
The things we can point at.
Right. We are incredibly good at prepping for external apocalypses. You see people building elaborate underground bunkers.
Hoarding decades worth of canned goods.
Yes. Stockpiling water purification tablets. They are meticulously preparing for the sky to fall.
Literally.
Literally. But while they are pouring all this energy into surviving the external threat, they are completely ignoring the toxicity or the apathy or the cruelty that they are harboring inside their own chests.
That is the heart of stone.
Right. Here's where it gets really interesting, because it explores the absolute tragedy of misdirected attention.
Yes. Humans are looking up, completely terrified of the external physical threat.
They're doing the math.
Exactly. They are tracking the celestial body, calculating its trajectory, consumed by the shadow it casts. And yet, the text says they did not understand.
They missed the point entirely.
They're entirely missing the internal moral threat that is already present, the threat that is actively decaying their society from within.
Wow.
The juxtaposition of the asteroid. And it's striking how modern translations of the text blend astronomical terminology with ancient poetic metaphors.
Yeah, it's a really cool blend.
It is, but juxtaposing that with the hard heart is completely deliberate. It pits external physics against internal morality.
Okay, I have to push back here, though.
Please do.
Because embracing this idea of focusing inward sounds great in a philosophical sense, right? It sounds beautiful.
Sure.
But practically speaking, it is basic biological survival instinct to fear the massive predator you can see coming at you. If a literal trillion-ton asteroid is hurtling toward Earth, focusing on your own emotional apathy seems absurd.
It seems like a waste of time.
Right. How are you supposed to fight a threat that is invisible, a threat that is literally woven into your own emotional makeup when there's a very visible rock about to crush you?
It is a survival instinct, absolutely. You're not wrong. We evolved on the savannah to run from the lion we can see.
Exactly. See lion, run away.
But the prophecy is arguing that human evolution has reached a critical juncture where our greatest predators are no longer physical.
Oh, interesting.
They are psychological. Let's use a visual here to help explain.
Okay, I'm picturing it.
Imagine a brilliant astrophysicist looking through a state-of-the-art telescope at a rock millions of miles away.
Got it.
They are mapping its every crater. They are hyper-focused on this distant, cold object.
They know everything about it.
Right. Meanwhile, right here on Earth, outside the walls of their observatory, their life is in ruins. They have alienated their family, they completely ignore their community, and they step right over suffering people on their own street without a second glance.
Because they're only looking up.
Exactly. The text is bluntly stating that this indifference, this heart of stone, has a higher destructive yield than a cosmic impact.
Wait, really? So you're saying the real destruction doesn't happen when the rock hits the crust of the Earth. It happens when empathy dies.
Precisely. An asteroid might wipe out a city, or an ecosystem, or, even a species.
Yeah.
But a collective heart of stone creates the conditions for systemic horror.
Like what we do to each other.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It creates endless wars, genocides, manufactured famines, structural poverty, normalized cruelty.
The stuff we live with every day.
Right. It creates a world where mere biological survival isn't even worth it because the core of our humanity is already dead.
They're just shells.
We are basically just walking stones at that point.
Wow.
The text is warning that we are fully capable of engineering our own apocalypse long before the sky ever threatens us.
So the asteroid is almost like a scapegoat.
Yes. We project our fear of destruction outward onto the universe, onto asteroids, or hostile nations, or whatever external boogeyman we can conjure.
So we don't have to look in the mirror.
Exactly, to entirely avoid taking responsibility for the destruction we inflict on each other every single day through our own apathy.
Okay, so if our natural inclination is to build these emotional bunkers, right? To calcify our hearts into stone, to protect ourselves from the pain of the world, are we just doomed by our own human nature?
That's the fear.
Yeah, because is the text basically saying that the apocalypse is our own fault? It's hardwired into us and there's just no way out? Because earlier you mentioned this was a roadmap for avoiding destruction.
It is. And that brings us to the profound crossroads the text presents. It doesn't leave us in a state of doomed paralysis.
Okay, good.
Having diagnosed the true threat, the stone in the heart, it proposes a radical solution. The prophecy reveals that the Earth is standing between two
Two
paths.
paths.
It reads, let me find it. And the Earth stood between two paths, a good way and a bad way. If man returns to God, or, depending on your philosophical reading, returns to the ultimate good, to their highest moral self,
Right.
the sign will pass by and not strike.
Okay, if we zoom out and look at the history of apocalyptic literature, things like the Norse Ragnarok or various interpretations of the Book of Revelation, this conditional structure feels incredibly rare.
Oh, extremely rare.
Because usually the end of the world is a foregone conclusion. It is fatalistic.
Right, it's destined to happen.
The script is written, the seals are broken, the wolf swallows the sun, and humanity is merely a helpless audience to its own annihilation.
A spectator sport.
Exactly. The cosmos is a machine that cannot be stopped.
That's a crucial distinction.
Yeah.
In most mythologies, the end is inevitable, but Nathanor's prophecy is entirely conditional.
It's an if-then statement.
Yes,
Mm.
it relies absolutely on human agency and collective free will. It puts the steering wheel of reality directly into our hands.
That is a lot of pressure.
It is, because the trajectory of a massive physical celestial body, an object governed by gravity, momentum, and the rigid laws of astrophysics, is somehow tethered directly to the moral compass of humanity.
Wait, let's pause and really interrogate the mechanics of that, because this is where the text gets incredibly wild.
It does get a bit mind-bending here.
Yeah. Logistically, what is it saying?
Yes.
Is the text implying a literal telekinetic connection between human empathy and astrophysics?
That's the big debate.
Like, if we all sit in a circle, hold hands, and practice deep empathy, does a trillion-ton rock physically alter its orbit? Or is this a grand metaphor suggesting that our internal reality creates our external environment?
That is the most fiercely debated aspect of this text among scholars.
I bet.
How literal is the physics here? Some scholars argue for a purely metaphorical reading.
Okay, how does that work?
Well, the asteroid represents any massive, seemingly unstoppable crisis.
Like climate change.
Exactly. Climate change, nuclear proliferation, global pandemics. If we change our internal state, if we dismantle our apathy, we naturally collaborate to solve these external crises.
So the asteroid passes because we work together to divert it or mitigate it.
Right. That's the metaphorical reading.
But the text presents it as a literal stone in the sky. It doesn't sound like it's speaking in metaphors about carbon emissions.
It does sound very literal. And if we take the metaphysical claim seriously, it proposes a universe where consciousness and matter are intimately entangled.
Ow.
It suggests that the physical universe is a mirror reflecting the moral state of its inhabitants.
Like the macrocosm reflects the microcosm.
Exactly that. If the collective human heart is dense, cold, and destructive,
The universe summons a rock to match it.
yes, the universe summons a dense, cold, destructive object to match it. But if consciousness shifts, if the collective heart softens, the physical reality must realign.
That is a staggering concept of empowerment.
It really is.
Because we often feel so helpless in the face of global events. We watch the news and feel like passengers tied to the tracks of a runaway train.
Totally helpless.
But this text insists that our internal state, our conscious choice between the good way and the bad way, projects outward to literally bend the physical reality of our planet.
It's a huge responsibility.
It's like a cosmic game of chicken.
Yes.
The universe is hurtling this rock at us, waiting to see who blinks first. The asteroid's physical momentum or human stubbornness.
And the good way isn't just about being polite.
Right. It's not about saying please and thank you.
No, it is the active, painful dismantling of the stone in the heart. And the bad way isn't necessarily a path of active, cartoonish evil either.
It's not twirling a mustache.
Right. The bad way is simply hitting the snooze button. It's staying asleep.
It's just apathy.
Yes. It's choosing the comfort and safety of the stone heart over the demanding, exhausting work of genuine connection.
But, okay, what is the catalyst for that kind of massive psychological shift?
What do you mean?
Well, if we've been asleep for centuries and our hearts are effectively petrified rock, we can't just snap our fingers and suddenly become deeply empathetic beings.
That's very true.
We need a bridge, you know? We need some sort of guidance to make that monumental shift in human nature. And that is where the text introduces this incredibly mysterious concept or figure.
Yes, the fourth prophecy.
Right. The prophecy says, and a name was called in the land, Ba-Ba-Shuva, a father to those who return and a voice to the awakened, not out of fear of the stone in the sky, but from the truth calling in the heart.
This is perhaps the most deeply psychological and tender part of the entire text.
It really changes the tone.
It does. We have to unpack the linguistics of the name introduced here. Ba Shuva.
Okay.
It is a composite in the original Hebrew. Ba meaning comes, Abba meaning father, and Shuva meaning return or repentance.
Oh, I see.
So it translates loosely to the father who comes in return or the father of repentance.
When the text drops a linguistic breakdown like Ba Shuva, it completely changes the vibe.
It softens it.
Yeah. After all the talk of incoming asteroids and fatal apathy, suddenly there is this paternal, deeply comforting presence.
Right.
But I want to explore why the text uses the concept of a father here.
Okay, let's explore that.
Because if we look at modern psychology, specifically attachment theory, we know that when human beings are under extreme existential duress, we regress.
We revert to childhood behaviors.
Exactly. We look for a parental figure, an Abba, to tell us we are safe. And we see this politically all the time, don't we?
Oh, constantly.
During times of massive crisis, populations consistently flock to authoritarian leaders who project a strong, paternalistic, I alone can fix it energy.
Yes.
They exploit that terror.
That is a brilliant connection, and it highlights exactly what the text is warning against.
Right.
Authoritarianism thrives on the fear of the stone in the sky. The dictator points to the asteroid, tells the populace to be terrified, and offers safety in exchange for absolute obedience.
Do what I say or the rock will get you.
Exactly. And the problem is, under that model, the heart of stone remains perfectly intact. It is merely harnessed by a new master.
Wow.
But Ba Shuva represents the benevolent, authentic alternative to that dynamic. The text explicitly qualifies the nature of this return.
How so?
It says it must happen not out of fear of the stone in the sky, but from the truth calling in the heart.
That distinction is everything. Let's look at a relatable, albeit dark, analogy.
I'm ready.
Imagine a couple trapped in a deeply toxic, failing marriage.
Okay.
They are constantly at each other's throats, just miserable. But suddenly, one of them gets a terrifying terminal medical diagnosis.
Oh, that's awful.
It is, and instantly the fighting stops.
Right.
They are attentive, they are kind, they are holding hands in the hospital waiting room. But, and this is the sad part, they didn't actually fix their toxic relationship.
They just got distracted by something scarier.
Exactly. They just got scared by a much bigger external threat. The moment the cancer goes into remission, let's say, and the immediate fear subsides, the toxicity comes right back.
Because the core issue was untouched.
Right. The fundamental issues were never resolved. The text is saying humanity can't just be terrified into being good.
Exactly. If humanity suddenly starts acting moral, cooperative, and kind solely because there's a literal gun to our heads, a celestial rock about to crush us, then we haven't actually evolved.
We're just surviving.
We've just calculated the odds of survival. Compliance born of terror is not transformation.
Compliance born of terror is not transformation. I need that on a t-shirt.
It's true, though. If we change out of fear, the stone in our heart is still there. It is just shivering.
Oh, man. A shivering stone.
True transformation cannot be coerced by external threats. And this beautifully counters the traditional fire and brimstone religious narratives that have been used for centuries.
You know, the whole repent or burn in hell approach.
Exactly, using fear to terrify congregations into submission. Nathan Orr is arguing that the asteroid can wake you up, it can break through your anesthesia, but it cannot be the reason you become a better person.
The reason has to come from inside.
The reason must come from an internal recognition of truth.
It has to be the truth calling in the heart. So, when the text speaks of Ba Shuva, is it describing a literal historical figure, like a new global leader or prophet who steps up during this crisis to guide us?
Some read it that way.
Or is it a psychological metaphor for something else entirely?
While it can certainly be read as a messianic figure, the psychological reading is far more compelling to me.
Me too. Let's dig into that.
Ba Shuva represents a collective psychological mechanism of self-regulation.
Okay, unpack that.
When humanity is faced with an existential threat, we are reduced to a collective state of panic. Ba Shuva is the internal or communal force, perhaps a sudden, sweeping movement of radical empathy that allows humanity to shed its blinding terror.
So it's not a guy in a robe, it's a movement.
Right. It is the voice that acts as a secure attachment figure. It calms the nervous system of the species enough so that we can actually listen to our internal truth, rather than just reacting to external fear.
It's the voice that says, stop staring up at the sky in terror. Look at the person next to you. Fix what is broken right here.
Yes.
Exactly. And if we do that, if we actually manage to achieve that nearly impossible shift from fear-based survival to truth-based empathy, what is the result?
The grand finale.
Right. Does the asteroid just neatly slide past Earth and we go back to our daily commute? This takes us to the final part of the prophecy, the ultimate promise of the text.
And the promise is breathtaking in its physiological imagery.
Yeah.
It doesn't just promise survival,
No.
it promises metamorphosis.
The final section reads, "And it shall be that if man listens and returns, I will give him a heart of flesh under a heart of stone. And the stone will pass, and the earth will be comforted, and a new world and a new reality will arise."
We have to deeply analyze this physiological metaphor. Trading stone for flesh.
It's very visceral.
It is, because
Mhm.
throughout the entire text, the concept of stone has represented danger and defense.
Right, the stone in the sky, the stone in the heart.
The stone in the sky is the terrifying alarm, and the stone in the heart is the true threat. The apathy, the cruelty, the calcified defense mechanisms we use to survive a painful world.
Yeah.
Think about the properties of a literal stone. A stone is impervious. It is cold. It is safe.
You can't hurt a rock.
Exactly. Nothing can hurt a stone. If your heart is made of stone, you cannot be broken by grief.
But you also can't feel joy.
Right. You cannot feel joy or connection. Flesh, on the other hand, is entirely vulnerable.
Yeah.
Flesh bleeds. Flesh tears. It bruises. It feels pain acutely.
Okay, I'm going to play devil's advocate again here.
Go ahead.
Embracing vulnerability sounds lovely in a poetry book, but practically speaking, flesh bleeds. In a world full of sharp edges, taking off your armor seems like a terrible evolutionary strategy.
It seems counterintuitive.
It does. Why is the text demanding that we adopt a heart of flesh to survive?
Because while the stone is safe, it is dead.
Oh.
The flesh bleeds, yes, but it is alive. The text is revealing a profound paradox here.
What's the paradox?
To survive the ultimate cosmic threat, humanity must willingly give up its strongest defenses. We must accept the immense, exhausting pain of having a heart of flesh.
Because caring hurts.
Empathy hurts. Caring deeply about the suffering of others, refusing to scroll past the tragedy we talked about earlier, requires a massive toll of emotional energy.
It makes you incredibly vulnerable.
It does. But the prophecy insists that this painful vulnerability is the only true definition of being alive. A society of stones is already a graveyard.
Wow. A society of stones is already a graveyard. That's heavy.
It is.
And the phrase, a heart of flesh under a heart of stone, I love the phrasing under because it implies that the flesh was always there.
Yes, it wasn't replaced, it was uncovered.
Right. It was just buried. We didn't lose our humanity entirely. We just calcified it over time.
We built a wall.
We built a hardened shell around our core to protect ourselves from the overwhelming trauma of existence. And the prophecy is saying we have to find the courage to crack that shell open. And when we do, the text says, the earth will be comforted. I love that it completely personifies the planet.
It's beautiful imagery.
The earth isn't just a static stage for human drama. It is a participant.
Yes, the earth absorbs the horrific impact of our apathy. Ecological destruction, endless wars, the poisoning of our water and air.
And stuff we do and we don't care.
These are all symptoms of a species operating with a stony heart, a species that views the world only as a resource to be extracted.
Right.
When the internal heart of humanity changes to flesh, the earth literally breathes a sigh of relief. It is comforted.
It can finally heal.
Yes. And structurally, notice how perfectly this final prophecy mirrors the opening.
Oh, let's look at that.
The text is a flawless, closed loop. We started terrified of a stone in the sky, only to realize the actual apocalyptic threat was the stone in our own hearts.
Yeah.
Here, the resolution is perfectly synchronized. Once the internal stone is dismantled, replaced by vulnerable, beating flesh, the external stone safely passes by.
The internal shift creates external salvation. And all of this culminates in one final staggering phrase. And a new world and a new reality will arise.
A new reality.
Yeah. When I first read that, my mind immediately went to standard science fiction tropes.
Let me guess. Spaceships.
Yes. You know, the asteroid comes, so humanity builds massive arc ships and flies off to colonize a new planet in a different solar system, a literal new world.
Right.
But based on the deep psychological framework we've just unpacked, that's not what this is talking about at all, is it?
Not at all. It doesn't mean changing locations. It means remaining on the exact same Earth, under the exact same sky, breathing the exact same air, but perceiving and interacting with it in a fundamentally unrecognizable way.
Because reality is shaped by perception.
Exactly. Reality is entirely shaped by our perception of it. If you look at the world through a heart of stone, your reality is a brutal zero-sum game of survival,
It's dog eat dog.
filled with constant threats, scarcity, and enemies. But if you look at the exact same physical world through a heart of flesh, reality becomes a place of radical connection, deep responsibility, and profound shared humanity.
It's a completely different world, even though it's the exact same planet.
The new reality arises not from a change of the physical laws of the universe, but from a radical transformation of the human lens.
Man. Let's take a breath and look at the incredible journey we've just been on with Prophet Nathan Orr's text.
It's been quite a ride.
We started with this terrifying cinematic image of an asteroid hurtling toward us, the ultimate unstoppable cosmic threat.
The alarm clocks.
Right, but we quickly learned it was just an alarm clock, violently shaking us out of our moral coma. We then had to confront the deeply uncomfortable truth that the real danger wasn't in the sky at all.
It was inside us all along.
It was the apathy, the exhaustion, and the hardness within us, the stone in our own hearts.
Yeah.
We found ourselves standing at a massive crossroads, debating the staggering idea that our collective moral choices literally dictate the physical trajectory of our future.
The conditional prophecy.
Exactly. We were challenged to change not out of panicked, toxic survivalism, but by listening to our internal truth, guided by the comforting, regulating concept of Baba Shuva.
The father of return.
And finally, we were promised that if we can brave the terrifying vulnerability of having a heart of flesh, we won't just save the world, we will create an entirely new reality right here on it.
It's beautiful.
It is an absolute masterclass in taking our most primal external fears and turning them into profound internal revelations.
It really is a masterpiece of psychological insight wrapped in ancient metaphor. And I want to leave you, the listener, with one final thought to mull over as you step away from this and back into your own daily reality.
Lay it on us.
We spend so much of our time staring up at the sky. We are constantly watching the news, doom scrolling through feeds, waiting for the next global disaster.
Anxiously tracking the asteroids.
Exactly. We track the various asteroids of our modern lives: economic instability, political turmoil, environmental collapse. We are entirely obsessed with the impact coming from the outside.
Always looking out.
Always looking out. But what is the stone in your own heart right now?
Oof.
If you stopped worrying for just one moment about the external impacts you cannot control, what internal hardened wall would you choose to dismantle today to let the truth call out?
What a question to carry with you today. Thank you so much for joining us on this incredible exploration. We love taking these texts and finding the hidden roadmaps inside them with you. Stay curious, keep looking deeper, and remember, the most important space to explore isn't always the cosmos above us, but the universe within us.